welcome to this Coventry University Student Union Men's Mental Health Podcast. I am Sam, your Sport and Wellbeing Officer, and I've got my wonderful guest here. Hristo, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, everyone. My name's Hristo. I'm a second year psychology student. Come from the distant land of Bulgaria, and I'm currently the president of men's basketball. We've also got Josh.
Hi, I'm Josh. I'm also a second year psychology student and the HLS faculty officer. And we thank you for joining us and hope you enjoy our podcast.
We'll be talking about different experiences on mental health and the discussion of men's mental health because seeing that we're coming from different backgrounds and unique backgrounds and diverse backgrounds, so we have obviously experienced mental health or discussion around mental health in different ways, or we might not have, but yeah. So I would start by asking this question to you guys: is what was the view of mental health in when you were growing up, or was there any view of mental health when you were growing up?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think there was particularly much of a view. I think kind of it was just a thing. The phrase that most people heard was man up and like stop being a girl, that kind of thing. It's very much why you're crying, why you're talking about this. If like the line of that, but like the whole thing, there's not a reason to cry, like you're not hurt, so what are you, was I think very around when I was younger. I don't know about Hristo.
Yeah, my experience was very much in line with what Josh's mentioning right now, even to a point where when you would get emotional for something, even if there was a good reason for it, you would get ridiculed about it and get called names, start being treated differently, which was never what you wanted to have happen. So I very much agree that there was something that was neglected in our upbringing, and I feel like that's true for every one of us, even though we come from, as I mentioned, very different, very diverse backgrounds. I feel like that's one of the things that they definitely share and have in common.
Was it the same for you, Sam? Similar things,
Um,
or
yeah, it was pretty similar. Only that I in Africa we're kind of extreme to a point where it's either you are sane or you are not sane. There was no in between. There was no gray point. It was either white or black. Anything in Nigeria, because I'm from Nigeria, is either black or white. There's no gray patches. Is you go to the hospital and you say, "Oh, I'm having a mental breakdown," and they think you're going mad and you need to visit a psychiatric hospital. And that was just bizarre because you had people suffer that could have been helped, or going through situations that could have been helped, but they were not helped in time, or they were not. There was no much care or focus on them, and they degenerated to different, and it became something different or something more harmful to them.
yeah, I think that's one of the main things actually, like bringing up kind of the idea that something doesn't actually show. There isn't necessarily a physical thing. If someone's got a broken leg, that's easy to work out how to fix it.
Yeah.
But with mental health, it's a very different thing. If people can't see something directly and know that's what the issue is, that's how we solve it. Um, and even now with mental health, I think it's one of them that it's not, it's only spoken about when it's bad. Like that's the thing that seems to be changing now, that now it's a thing that we'll talk about this because something's wrong, not like normal, not just general, the same as physical health where you can just be healthy and that means you're okay. Mental health, it's talking about when things are going wrong, like
Do you guys think that the reason why it was it wasn't put um wasn't put on a pedestal when we were growing up is because our parents weren't really a part of the generation that really paid attention to mental health? Because I'd say that us now, we are very much aware of how impactful mental health can be, whereas our parents, they were more old school in that way, as in they weren't really uh, educated on how important and impactful mental health might be?
I don't know, because I feel that mine kind of definitely did. Like they understood that, and that's what I think is interesting, and that's what I think kind of it's us having to make the concerted effort to do things in a way that we think are the going to be the most beneficial moving forward. Because I know that like mine definitely knew mental health was a thing, and definitely were like checking in, but I don't think it helps when like everything else around is, oh, you're a girl because you're crying. Like when the whole society's like that, just those two people kind of having their way of supporting it and doing it what would now be deemed as like more correctly. It doesn't really help when everybody else in the playground is calling you a girl because you've cried, because you've skinned your knee or something.
Yeah.
What about you, Sam? Do you?
I am in response to Histro's question. I feel it's our parents, or it's just that's why we talk about the difference in the backgrounds that we grew up in. My parents didn't know how to handle this. I didn't understand mental health issues. Like I said, back in Nigeria, it's either you're mad or you're sane. Um, and I think it stems from part of it stems from some of the environment they grew up in, or most of the environments they grew up in. Most of our parents, or most of parents that are most of the parents that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, or it might be in the 40s, experienced wars, experienced insecurity, experienced insurgency, and these things cause like a long-lasting damage if not identified and treated well. So it doesn't. I don't think at that point it opened any doors to any discussion around mental health, and you can understand that even in what I would call it from an African perspective, the Western world today, we see that is still a topic that is still at its baby points. We are still gradually speaking more about it. Although we talk about the helplines everywhere, it's still something that we are still getting used to talking about.
That's precisely why I bring it up, because even though you mentioned us as being from the Western world, I'm very much from a country where mental health awareness and mental health in general is still not as understood as appreciated as it is, for example, in the UK, because just having to make that transition from a place that doesn't really encourage you to be in line with your mental well-being to a country that actively promotes it, that's been very different for me. And that's mostly the reason why I decided to pursue a psychology degree in a country like the UK, because I know that there's an actual focus and interest in people being mentally well, whereas where I'm from in Bulgaria, I'd say we're at least 10 to 15 years behind on the development of people actually understanding and trying not to fix, but to improve their emotional well-being and stability.
This is not to go into the educational point or too researchy as in perspective. It's just that I came across this study, or someone talked about this study, where when people come up with statistics about the number of men that commit suicide, or the number of men that go through all these things, they're focused. People forget when people read through this, they forget that that these people have done research only in certain parts of the world, and these parts of the world are more understanding or more educated about the mental health. They and then they think it's a world thing. For instance,
Yeah,
they say the percentage of men that commit suicide is doubled here in the world. Meanwhile, you haven't done research in places like Africa, where
yeah.
you
I
have
was
no clue what it is, or somewhere South America where you have no clue what it is.
Yeah, I was going to say there's an acronym for it, isn't it? Is it weird? Western
Weird.
European
It's
um,
Western educated,
educated.
industrialized, something else.
Yeah,
We
and
did it. We did it in psychology.
yeah, and because there is a massive push, I know currently at Carvin across other universities with the decolonisation of the curriculum to kind of incorporate more aspects of other nationalities and other cultures, because some things are just done kind of in such a direct way. But like the statistics that you're talking about with men and mental health and suicide, especially, are ridiculous. Because when you look at it, and in the UK, because we spoke about it in on our course last year, and the highest killer of men between the age of 18 and 40 is themselves, which is a statistic. It's just ridiculous. Like, how is the most dangerous thing not a car, not a it's myself. Like, that's the thing that is most likely to injure myself at this
Yeah.
present time. Like, so I do think obviously it's why we want to do this. It's why we want to get people talking about different things in different situations. And I do think, kind of to your point about the changes in that kind of Bulgaria is in a different position to the UK. I think that's very true, but I think it's changing really rapidly here. Like, I don't think it's been as much within 15 years ago. It wasn't where we are today, you know. Like, and that was the point of when I was in school, and it was very much kind of the girls do this, the boys do that. Now it's a lot more, things are more accepting and things are more open. Um, and I do think kind of it's definitely progressing, but a lot of things have changed really quickly in the way of mental health and kind of general support.
Yeah, I definitely think it's. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Josh, and I'm alluding to the fact that the fact that in society now we are seeing more gray patches with things, because there's nothing that is just black and white. There's always the middle point. There are always gray patches. Like for gender, for example, in gender, you see it was before in the 50s, it was forbidden for you to say, oh, I'm in between, or I'm gay, or I'm bi, or anything. It was you're heterosexual, or you're not, or you're nothing. You're either a man or you're a woman. Now we are seeing like the in betweens. People are accepting that there are in betweens. There are gray patches in life, and it opens doors to other topics or other discussions, because it's not just one thing or the other. Is there are all different aspects or different shades of things.
Yeah, and I do think it's it's a little bit up to us to make those gray patches okay in a way,
Yeah.
to say that okay, you're not just very well or very not well. You can be stuck in between, or you can be in a period where you're a downhill period or an uphill period, and that's okay, as long as you feel free to talk about it, and you feel like you have a platform to express those feelings and emotions. I think that's what we're trying to do here, to establish that platform.
And I was going to say, actually, to make it okay to say, actually, I'm having a rough patch,
Yeah.
because I would never do that. It's so difficult for me just say I'm having a down day. It takes so much. But actually, recently, I've had a good friend that has kind of been more open about having kind of down days and just being a bit depressed, not being able to do things, being overwhelmed. And if anything, I'd say that's helped me realize that, like, as much as I talk about things, I still know that I have difficulty with my own feelings and expressing them. Like, but to have somebody else just turn around and be like, yeah, I've had a really bad day today. Like, I just cried most of the day. It's like, oh, yeah, no, you can do that. And actually, I want to be here and help you. And I think that those are the
Yeah.
conversations, and that's the things that we've got to talk about and normalize more for people.
Definitely. I am liking what just said, because it's something that I've learned to understand or learned to accept, because it's a thing of accepting the fact that okay, yes, I'm not at the top of my game today. I'm not hitting it. I'm not being productive today, and it's fine. It's totally fine for me not to be productive every single day of the week, because I'm not a machine. Even machines break down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
No one
your body breaks down. He needs rest.
yeah. No one expects you to be the LinkedIn of people. You're not supposed to establish billion-dollar companies every day. You can have the occasional off day or the off week even, and that's normal. Everyone does. It's just that the media doesn't glorify the rough patches; it glorifies the apexes. So
or the downfalls or the
exactly,
downfalls.
yeah. It's probably the biggest contributor of people being scared to say they feel bad, because they see those famous slash successful people, and all they see are the highlights. Like on Instagram, there's literally a section called highlights. There's not a section called lowlights. There's not a section saying, "Oh, this is the bad days."
Exactly. That's such a wonderful point.
No.
But no, sorry, you continue. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
So I feel like, as much as social media has been good for us connecting with one another, and like you can say that, oh, we're in the most connected age that we've ever been in. It's kind of done almost as much harm as it's done good, because yeah, we can talk to people, but then again, we kind of scared to show our real self. So in a way, we're kind of disconnected more than we are connected.
So, is there a solution? Is there a fix for it? Can we get people to be more honest? What, like,
Ah, there's not an immediate fix for it, especially because it's easy to say, "Yo, get off social media," but that's not as easy as it sounds, because everyone's on it. Like, you don't really get people who say, "No, I'm not on Instagram. I'm on mail." I mean, nobody sends pigeons anymore. They say DMs. I don't see an immediate like easy fix. I don't know if Sam has a suggestion, maybe.
Uh, um, well, I think there's one. There is a sociologist who said that I'm sure maybe you've come across this before. That I am not what I think I am. I am not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. So we are living in the perception of what we think others think of us. So it still carries it to social media and everything, because when you want to make a post, you're too scared to put out your real self because you're wondering what people think you are, and that is never true. It's never true, and we want to put out this strong, as men we want to put out this strong image of us, and or this um undefeatable image of us, and it's false, because we men do cry, men show emotions, and it's fine for us to show emotions. I show emotions, and I'm happy to show emotions. Not that I'm happy to walk around and cry every time. Obviously, I wouldn't want to
Yeah,
cry
yeah,
every time, but when it is understandable, when something hits me, I definitely show emotions. So it's just best for us to start to look inwards rather than look outwards for people's validation and all that. I think that's what helps. When you listen to yourself, listen to your feelings, listen to and know and be acceptable and accept the feelings that you have.
yeah. And social media is definitely going to be a very heavy focus on what we talk about here, just because it's everywhere you look, like literally everywhere on your phone and on the internet. I I think that's gonna do it for this episode. If any of you had like a final remark on or a takeaway message that they want listeners to have for this episode, feel free to share.
I think the main thing, I think if we definitely look at social media as an episode on itself, and Sam, I think they can contact via your Instagram
Yeah,
if there was any
definitely.
comments or ideas.
Yeah, you can contact me at QC Sport and Wellbeing of VP Sport and Wellbeing of VP Sport and Wellbeing. I would definitely be happy to give you a reply, or maybe answer you or direct you to, or rather signpost you to the best services that would cater for your needs, because I'm not a professional, thank you.
Yeah,
But
and if there's anything that you feel is worth discussing with us, either directly or on this platform, because I've I know that sometimes it's better for people to put their issues out there and receive all the available help. So do not hesitate to contact Sam, get in touch with us, and we'll just try and be like a collective representation of what the students and the people around the campus feel like, especially during times like these.
Yeah, and I think that's it. We like we said, we're not trained professionals. We're just people here giving thoughts and having conversations. And so, if you've got kind of things that you want to ask, that kind of topics that we can discuss, general questions, or just thoughts and opinions, like a situation and any advice on how to deal with it, we're here to be kind of a bit of an overarching three guys with a voice. Like,
Yes. That being said, I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
bye.